colleges and universities were in the crosshairs, and they acted accordingly. But more likely, it was the age-old phenomenon of insider resistance to change, described in the 1930s by Upton Sinclair when he wrote, "It is difficult to get a man to understand something when his salary depends on him not understanding it." And therein lies the problem. So where to from here? For reasons I have already outlined, making progress won't be easy. But here are 4 structural suggestions that should be at the top of our list. First, when higher education policymaking happens in Virginia, almost all of the seats at the table are reserved for college administrators, lobbyists, and old guard defenders, all with obvious stakes in preserving the status quo. Virginia's parents, students, and taxpayers are not included, so their voices remain disaggregated, silent, and unwelcome. All the while, their student loan debts continue to pile up. To paraphrase Albert Einstein, we can't solve a problem with the same minds that created them. A more productive dialogue would include parents and students from all walks of life, small and large business owners, thought leaders from in and outside Virginia, and some of the many innovators who are trying new approaches around the country. Whether black, white, brown, yellow, or red, male or female, young or old, all will be included. In short, Virginia needs a much larger and more diverse policy tent for new solutions to emerge. This needs to change. Second, here's one thing that's true about every single one of the 150 individual tuition hikes over the last 10 years that resulted in that 74% increase I mentioned earlier. A governing board approved them. Yet their members are provided information only from the very college administrators who are charged with governing and are given very little direction on statewide goals. They are led to believe, and then, as I said, understandably act, as if their primary duty lies with their school, rather than the Virginians who pay their tuition and tax bills. This needs to change. Third, we need to ask a very basic question. Who is, or who should be, in charge of assuring the greater good? Virginia's State Council on Higher Education does great research. It provides and collects valuable data. But it has very little authority to implement policies that assure affordable excellence for all Virginians. In the consultant's report to Chev in 2014, 2 observations stand out. One is that our schools have been allowed to set their own goals and measure their own successes. The rankings they chase are largely driven by inputs, such as SAT scores, admission rejection rates, and faculty salaries. Colleges have little to no skin in the game when it comes to concrete outcomes, such as student learning, graduation rates, affordability, debt levels, and loan default rates. And while the economic impacts and research activities of our schools are substantial, their alignment with statewide goals and initiatives is largely accidental. In sum, Virginia suffers from a deficit of accountability and coordination. This needs to change. But the report's second and equally important observation is that while many of our colleges are well positioned, they must all succeed to realize gains at a statewide level. Over the last 9 years, over and above its nearly $6 billion endowment, one school accumulated over $2 billion in surpluses, earnings, and reserves. Another sits atop $1.7 billion. At the other end of the spectrum, and closer to home, Norfolk State has tremendous potential to elevate the very students who need it the most, yet has only a $23 million endowment. It's wonderful if we have a small handful of schools with the muscle that comes with money and rankings, but it won't do most Virginians much good if the 35 others can't participate in and contribute to that success. Therefore, the report begs important questions. Can the financial value of our prized brands owned by all Virginians, be more broadly shared? Can these assets be used to close the growing divides between the colleges and the Virginians who have and those who have not? If so, is there a way to still maintain the unique identities of our colleges? These difficult questions have not been addressed, and this too needs to change. Anyone who's traveled from Northern Virginia to the Southwest, or from the South Side to the Eastern Shore, can see that stark regional differences have now come to define Virginia. In a hillbilly elegy world, one where there are large swaths of poverty and lost hope, social and economic divisions are now rearing their ugly heads every day in our national dialogue. They can no longer be ignored. Because when the institutions we depend on for social stability falter, and when opportunities for economic prosperity become too expensive, but all for the well-off, when we slam the door on something as precious as a child's hope or a parent's dreams, the social compact is damaged, and the collective balance of trust gets broken. In the alternative, public higher education must once again become an essential element of an open system of opportunity and promise. We are blessed to live in a representative democracy that features the oldest continuous lawmaking body in the Western Hemisphere. This year, Virginians will elect all 100 members of the House of Delegates and a new governor. 2 of our boards of visitors are searching for new presidents that will lead Virginia's most historic public colleges. 1/4 of our governing board members will be appointed by Governor McAuliffe. The time could not be more right to ask our leaders to ensure that your children and grandchildren will be able to afford a high-quality degree from a Virginia public school. You can ask them to bring new ideas and scalable, effective initiatives to the table. Ask them to guarantee that the tent of public discussion gets a whole lot bigger and that tough questions are rigorously debated. And ask them to ensure that college board members work for you and are given the tools they need to effectively serve all of Virginia. Reconstructing the social compact will not be easy, but it can and must happen. And institutions who might think otherwise should understand that they are not in anyone's crosshairs. But society has every right to ask for legitimate solutions to fundamental challenges. It's entirely appropriate, I think, that I finish with the words of a Greek. Over 2,300 years ago, the philosopher Diogenes said, "The foundation of every state is the education of its youth." Today, his words still ring true. Today, we stand in a nexus where Virginia's economic vitality and the need for affordability in higher education have come together. These are not one-way streets that will never intersect. We are right now very much at a crossroads. Thank you. Happy to entertain any questions you may have. Yes, ma'am.
You can correct me if I'm wrong. What you're saying is if you change boards, you can change policy.
I think if the governance structure, the way it works right now, is failing students, yes.
Because the boards are politically appointed basically by governors, and they appoint people because of their political patronage rather than their interest in education. So basically our elected officials should take more interest in educational aims than in rewards for donations.
The political appointment process has been widely criticized, yes. I don't think I do think there can be some overlap. There can be people who are appointed who And I think I think the board members are well-intentioned, but as I said, they swear an oath of allegiance to the Constitution, but then like a private company board, or even a publicly traded board, or a nonprofit board, they all, and I originally came with some of the mindset of, I'm here to serve the school. And the school is an important tool in serving the public, but the public and the students are really the stakeholders. That makes sense.
Yes, makes sense. Thank you.
First, thank you. Thank you for your service, and thanks for speaking to us this evening. I'd like to know how the Rolling Stone article changed policy or procedures at University of Virginia for the students or faculty.
Wow, that's a great question. I think that article had a lot of impact, and it was unfortunate that the story itself, it's fortunate that the story was not true, but it was unfortunate that the school, students, the public had to go through so much drama over a journalist's error, to put it nicely. But that being said, I do think there were a lot of positive outcomes, and the saying, don't let a good crisis go to waste, was true in this case as well. And I think that it raised awareness about sexual assault on college campuses. I think it gave, that dialogue, that process gave a lot of women more courage to stand up and bring their cases forward. I think it underscored the ridiculous system we have of asking colleges to serve in so many ways as law enforcement in what are criminal offenses. And so there have been a lot of changes at the state policy level to try to address that, and on a national level as well. I think from administrations to students to federal and state governments, everybody is